Good morning, guys. Adam Patterson out here. As always, it's Halloween day. But I just had this idea creeping back into my head this morning, excuse me. Um, because I want to talk about building a strong business, and how to do it, and some things to avoid. And these are all opinions, guys. Obviously, people have done things without me. But in order to build a strong business, or in order to build any business, when I first tried making my apparel distribution company, one of the first things that I tried doing was going, okay, now I got to get financial backing so that I can go and buy inventory and do all these things. And what I'm trying to get at here is that I thought that I needed somebody to give me money first before I could actually go out and do the thing. That was a different business scape. Obviously, it wasn't a service-based business like this one is, where what I needed was customers in this case, because I could offer the service already. In that business, I couldn't offer the thing without owning it, but you kind of still can. You can still broker out a deal. And that's kind of what I'm getting at here, because there's you can go very fast in business, and you can go fast to the bottom, or you can go fast on your way up if you find someone to give you outside financing. You give up some equity, maybe you take on a loan for your business, to try and make it explode. If it's like a manufacturing, if you have to purchase inventory, just things of this nature. And you can go very, very fast doing so. You can pay a bunch of people, you can do a bunch of things, but at the end of the day, you take on far more risk by giving up your upside, or if you just take on a loan, you take on far more risk, and it's a lot harder to do than it is to just go slow. So you can go very quickly that way. You can go very quickly. You can pay a bunch of people, leverage the money that you have, leverage people in that case, and then hopefully that all takes you to the next level, where you can start like positively cash flowing and paying all these things back. But you can go the slow way and build a business more sustainable, which is called bootstrapping, where you take no outside funding, which is what I do. I took no outside funding. Everything was my own money. I started just by myself. I didn't have employees because I couldn't afford to pay them. And you just wait for the business to actually start generating enough profit for you to continue to move forward and continue to move forward. It's just organic growth, and it takes longer. It moves slower. But when it starts to pay off, you actually get to start leveraging your own dollars and things, which is probably a lot scarier for people. That's probably why people go and get outside funding, I would have to imagine. If you don't want to spend your own money, everybody always talks about OPM, other people's money. And they always say, like, you should never spend your own money. You should always go take a loan for it. You should always go get somebody else to cover this cost and do this. And that's a sign of resourcefulness. But when it comes down to building a business, people usually want to see that you have some proof of concept. So the first thing that you should always do is go get a customer. And if you can't go get a customer without taking on outside funding or without more money involved, you should sign up for it. You should save up to have the money, or B, ask somebody very close to you in terms of a close family member or friend. You shouldn't go to somebody else that's outside of that. And you shouldn't ask it as like, can you give me a loan or whatever. You should just say, like, I don't know if this is going to work out or not. You'd really just be taking a bet on me. If it does work out, I'll absolutely pay you back. If it doesn't, you're not going to get your money back. And you should be incredibly straightforward about things. There's no reason to lie, and there's just absolutely, in my opinion, there's no reason to take on outside funding unless you're building an app or something like this that you really can't afford it. And if you can't afford it, I can't imagine starting a business that I can't afford to do. Every company that I've ever started, I started service-based businesses at first. I created digital product companies, and then I was just doing a lot of like digital advertising while taking on inventory, and I never took on outside capital. I would never do such a thing because I don't want to be pigeonholed to somebody else. I don't want to have to owe anybody else anything. I don't want to have to owe them explanations. I don't want to tell somebody that I lost them their money. I would rather, if I lost money, I would rather look at myself in the mirror and be like, you lost yourself money. And I'm okay with losing myself money. I've lost myself plenty of money over the years. Subsequently, I've made it all back in this endeavor. So, you know, this has been all organic, all bootstrapped. It was started with my own money. Not that I had to put a ton of money in. It was literally just to pay like my living costs for the months when, you know, the business couldn't sustain me. And then in the third month, I was far more profitable than I needed to be. But that's how you build a healthy business. You build it from the ground up. You start it by yourself, and you just work. And, you know, putting in the work, earning your first customer, earning your second customer, earning your third customer, fourth, fifth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th, and beyond. You know, it's going to be far more rewarding than if you just took on outside funding to, you know, skyrocket this trajectory. And especially if you end up successful and you don't have to pay anybody back, you know, it's not fast, it's not easy on the mind, it's not easy on the heart, but when it works out far better than if you took on outside funding, because you don't have to worry about any other things. You just go, woo, we made it. And you'll get a big sense of relief, and you can breathe again for a little while, and then you'll just go on to the next step, and hopefully that is scaling. But that's what I want to talk about, just building a healthy business, building it from the ground up, doing it yourself. You know, if you ever watch any of the big entrepreneurs or anything, they talk about sweat equity and how important it is to building a business. And, you know, I couldn't agree more with that. You know, I've worked pretty hard my entire life to build this company from the ground up, or to build my skill set so that I could build this company. And the sweat equity that I have put in, it's been far worth it. And I can't imagine a world in which I did this any other way and felt as accomplished as I do. So with that, you know, I'm not going to worry too much about anything. Of course, I'll take care of my customers. I'll never just leave anybody hanging. But in terms of just, you know, all these other things that people say that you need to do, like you need to go get funding, you need to do this, you need to do that, you don't need to do any of it. You need to sit down, you yourself, your partner if you have one, and you guys just need to get to work. And once you build out your first customer, your second customer, your third customer, and you turn a profit, you start using those profits, you reinvest them back into the business, you get better equipment, you start, you know, doing more things and try to make yourselves more efficient. And once you found yourselves being as efficient as you can be and your profits still coming in, you start saving up, you put some money aside, you hire another person, and you try to grow that way. And that's what I'm going to do now that I've learned not to hire on so early. Basically what I'm going to start doing with my company profits is I'm going to set them to the side, and then I'm going to have like a full year's salary for somebody that I plan to hire set aside, and I'm just going to hire from that. And that's pretty much what I'm going to do. I'm going to start buckets, and I'm going to say, like, this is for my next employee, this is for new equipment, this is for the new technology, this is for new this, and I'm going to have buckets set aside from each profit that comes in, and that's where I'm going to hire from, that's where I'm going to buy new equipment from, that's going to be everything. And I'm going to have budgets set for it so that I don't overspend, and I have salaries set aside, and I have everything, and just, I don't think that there's any better idea than that. But that's what I want to talk about, guys. I appreciate you tuning in and following along. Leave a like below if you like the video. Of course, subscribe so that you can get more tips and videos like this, or follow along for the daily vlogs. And then leave a comment. Let me know what you're building. If you're building anything, let me know what you want to build. If you're not interested in telling me that, you know, I'm in a logistics company. You don't have to give me any details about how you're going to be different or whatever. But yeah, enjoy. Hope you enjoyed. Appreciate it, guys. Follow along for more.